you can be fired for any reason or no reason with very little recourse.
Story we first brought to you on Tuesday, and since then it has generated an enormous amount of attention. Even the country. Our story that receiving hundreds of shares online. There have been Facebook pages created, all in support of Nancy Lane after she was fired from her job as a radio host at Forever Broadcasting. And if you remember, Lane told us she was fired not because of job performance, but because of the actions of her ex-husband, the reason clearly stated in her termination letter.
While Forever Broadcasting continues to tell us they cannot comment on her firing, Lane tells us she's grateful for all the support she's received. She says she plans to fight her termination. Maria Miller has been following the story, and she talked with local experts to see if Lane has a wrongful termination case. Maria?
Well, Marty and Jen, because of legalities, a local attorney and a representative from the Women's Help Center that we talked with were not able to discuss Lane's case specifically, but they were able to talk about Pennsylvania law in general. And it turns out termination because of domestic abuse is not uncommon.
Because we're an at-will employment state and there are limited exceptions to it, there's not much you can do if you're fired for a reason that isn't illegal or otherwise prohibited.
That's Johnstown attorney Michael Parrish talking about Pennsylvania law when it comes to filing a civil suit for wrongful termination from a job.
Pennsylvania courts have indicated that you can be fired for good reasons, bad reasons, no reasons at all.
Parrish says someone might have a wrongful termination claim if they can prove they were fired because of discrimination, either against their sex, age, race, or religion, or because they refused to commit a crime for their employer and/or reported criminal acts of their employer to authorities.
Absent those kinds of specific prohibitions that are usually governed by statute, you really don't have any recourse.
Parrish says that includes termination because of the actions of an abusive partner. It's a scenario the Women's Help Center in Johnstown says it sees all the time.
He makes them miss work. He takes the car keys. He keeps them up all night. He will cause a disruption at their place of work. He'll threaten their employers. We see that all the time. I have yet to see a man lose his job over a domestic violence case.
Deborah Wilson is a criminal justice advocate at the center. She says firing an employee for a domestic abuse situation could fall under discrimination and should never be a reason for termination.
I think it's rewarding the abuser. I think that's exactly what he wants. There has been cases that they've proved discrimination on because the victims of domestic violence are most often women.
Now, the Women's Help Center says there are options other than firing that employers can take when being threatened by an abusive spouse, and says it has those resources available at the center in Johnstown. In the meantime, we do want to make it clear that the charges against Lane's ex-husband are still only charges at this time. Reporting live, Maria Miller, 6 News.